Okay, we're recording. You guys, it's our last week. Can you even believe it? Ah, it's crazy. So, okay, let me 1 second. Okay. So, this week we are talking about hustle. And this is for sure where the idea or the concept that you've always, all of us have looked at vision boards or done vision boards or whatnot, but none of them had the hustle factor. So this is, we've created a vision for our life. We're working on our boards. And now it's time to, get to work and hustle and allow the universe to provide opportunities for us and that's the thing. That's where our manifesting comes about, is like different opportunities will just come to us that we have to be prepared for, and we have to be willing to accept changes so that new great things can come to us. So first, and just unmute yourself when you want to say something, but I would love for you guys to at least to share something with me that maybe you've learned up to this point. Anything that's shifted, anything that you're working on, something that you've learned up to this point. Tiffany?
I've learned a lot about myself and my mindset, and how much the way I talk to myself and the things I think impact what I put into the universe. And I didn't realize that there were some of the blocks there that are there. So now I know what I can work on.
And then it starts to shift things, because I think when you're, for the most part, a really positive person, which you are, you kind of just think, I got a positive mindset. I'm good. We don't recognize the tiny little things that we hear in our mind that, slow us down or
maybe aren't even just negative thoughts. They're just thoughts that don't serve me. They're not even necessarily like negative. They just are not right.
And no, I agree. And it's simple as like word shifts. Like Rob said something the other day, how a lot of times, I guess it's really common in his workplace for people to start meetings or say things or pass each other and go, hey, how you doing? And people always say, can't complain. And I said, but what if you shifted? Because now the word that is out there or in your brain or that you're putting into the universe is complain. So whether you recognize it or not, it's the complain that your brain focuses on and the universe brings to you. How much simpler is it just to say, things are great. Things are looking good. Like I said, you mean the same thing for the most part, but it's what you're saying and putting into action that people don't even recognize. Those little words like can't complain isn't a negative thing, but it's the word that you're putting out there. What else? Who else has learned something or is working on something or changing something? Erin?
I would say that's true for me too, is just trying to change the way I say things, is like you said, saying, nothing to complain about, but I'm trying to shift it into a more positive light. So definitely hard just to, change it into a positive, sentence. So.
Yeah, but it's those tiny shifts that over time you're going to look back one day and go, holy cow, like you just see everything more positive, and more positive things start to surround you and come towards you. And when you speak just positive phrases or respond in a positive way to people, it will come back to you so often, you know, in the way that people respond to you. So good. Debbie, what do you got?
So this triggered something because I've always had a crazy life. Like with 10 kids, you're going to have a crazy life. And I've always said, and so I say, oh, my life is just crazy. Well, it's gotten, I've been like, man, it's just crazy. I thought it was going to slow down, but it's gotten even crazier. And sure enough, it's getting crazier. And it has gotten crazier. So I think that that is something I need to be looking at differently instead of saying, you know.
You're giving it life and giving it permission to stay that way.
Yeah. Instead of being, agreed.
So, and that's the thing, and probably something you didn't expect at all to learn when starting future boards is just those little shifts in words and the little shift in the way you think. It can change everything. It really, truly can, especially as we're working towards manifesting new and greatness and wonderful things in our life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay, how are you guys doing on your boards? Anybody get any? I know this week has been crazy. I feel like I don't even know how Christmas has passed now. I mean, we've gone nonstop, but has anybody taken any time to work on their boards? At least
I've gotten on Pinterest. I've gotten a few pins done. So
okay.
I mean, I'm going to be making that more of a priority in my downtime.
Yeah. Yeah. Erin, how's your pinning going?
That's kind of, I've started pinning. Definitely.
Okay.
I have not printed it.
Okay. So
but definitely pinning.
Our page is up, our chat is up. So let's keep, even though this is our last call, like let's keep those going and keep sharing. So those are going to be amazing. And as you watch them come true, it really is. I was talking to my ever skeptic husband yesterday. This is just kind of along the lines of Tiffany sharing like her money manifestation. Because here's the thing, what you focus on and what you focus on shifting first is what you're going to start to see manifest most prevalent. So I knew going into this in July that my biggest issue was money. So that's what I've worked the hardest on in my I am statements, in my power mottos, in so much that I've shifted. And I was talking to Rob about it a couple days ago, and I said, do you realize how much, like what has manifested financially since I started this back in July? And he said, well, not really. Give me some examples. And I listed off just the things I could think of in 5 minutes. And we have manifested, and I say we because I've asked him to shift the way he speaks and the way he talks, at least around me or to me or in our home as well. Over $160,000 we've manifested since July. So I can say without a shadow of a doubt that it works. You know, speaking abundance, speaking wealth, speaking, being really aware of what's important to you and why, you know, instead of being frustrated when I wanted to go shopping and I just wanted to buy stuff, knowing because I was so focused on my future board and what I'm trying to build wealth for, that it never felt bad to not buy things that I would normally buy. And then I believe because of that, because I have gotten so much, become a better steward of what we did have, then all of a sudden now it's just like coming. And I'm just like, holy bejesus, like this is insane. And as we do well with that, I believe it's going to keep coming. So be smart about, you know, Aaron and I have talked about career stuff. Like, be smart about what you really want to, not be smart, but as you're pinning things, like, I want you to do all 5 categories. I want you to look at everything, but I want you to figure out for you what you really want to dig deep into the most, if that makes sense. And then that's where this hustle comes into play, because you're going to hustle to change and to work on those things that you really want to be better or to change or to shift. And then we use our future board to keep our focus, to remind us of why we're hustling when the hustle sucks or when it gets hard or when we're afraid. Because that's the thing. We didn't create our future board and then all of a sudden stuff's just like a Range Rover is going to show up in my driveway. That it's not really the way it works. Like, is there a Range Rover on my board? Yes. Will I get one? Yes. Is it going to show up without me hustling or changing anything? No. But let me ask you this. Do any of you know someone who is uber successful who hasn't worked really hard? I mean, they work hard, right? Whether it's an athlete or a performer or a business person, like, they work crazy hard and it's turned into success. So here's the thing. We have to start making changes. We have to shift. Sometimes the hustle is as simple as catching yourself from complaining and saying something positive. Like we were talking about, like shifting our words, shifting our sentences. Like, that's part of the hustle, because you're retraining your mindset and you're retraining the way that your brain works and the way what it will focus towards. Being grateful for every little thing, like every little thing that has manifested in my life over the last few months. I give huge thanks. I give huge thanks to my Heavenly Father and to the universe for all of that is happening. What? It's on the island. Sorry, everybody. In the kitchen. I have it plugged up in the wall. You can unplug it. Okay, here's something else. And she writes this in the book, but I want to reinforce it. If you are willing to hustle, you have confidence. It doesn't mean that you don't have fear. It doesn't mean you're not scared and you don't doubt yourself a little bit. It just means that you're proving to yourself that you can get something done because you're doing it. So your confidence will gain, and that's going to help keep you going. So here's a huge thing. Don't be afraid to start from scratch. Don't be afraid to do something you've never, ever done before. There's probably 100% chance that whatever you want to do and want to be successful at, somebody else has already done. Probably lots of other people have done it. So don't be afraid to YouTube them and to Google whatever it is you want to be great at and see what they've done or see the steps. So for me, starting do the things, like I had already owned a cake pop company, so I had started that, but that business looked a lot different than what the Do the Things life coaching business looks like. So getting a different type of business license, getting a different type of insurance. But here's the thing. I can Google the steps to starting a business in Florida and follow the steps. Like, I'm not trying to create this from scratch. I'm following the steps, and that's part of the hustle. Especially, here's the thing. You don't have to know it all. Nobody that has started something from scratch knows anything. Look at the people who have already done it and see what they've done and take the good from it and do that. If you see things that they're doing that you don't like the way they're doing it, then I don't want to do that. The point is, is to get moving. And once you get moving, the universe will step in and keep doing more for you. It will keep giving you opportunities to learn and to grow. And that's huge. But sorry, my back is hurting. I got to put another pillow in my bed. Really not being afraid. Tiffany, were you going to say something?
It just makes me think of a quote that I heard that says, God can't move a car that's parked. Like, you've got to
love
put
that.
yourself in gear so that he
you
can move you. Like, cannot move a car that is parked.
I love that so much. God cannot move a car that is parked. That is so awesome. And Sarah says in here, flawed action is better than no action. You know, like just doing something and knowing that, just really acknowledging and accepting that you don't have to know a lot. You just have to know that you want to do it and you're excited about it and start taking action. Also knowing it's not going to be easy. Like it's not, you know, Tiffany and Debbie and I and, you know, Crystal will watch this later. We do our Plexus business and it's not easy reaching out to people and them either, you know, disappearing or going away. And so Erin, if you don't mind me, you know, sharing, I'm talking to Erin about, you know, maybe starting her crafting business as a side hustle and then growing it into something bigger. And so here's the other thing. Part of the hustle is finding the balance, especially for, you know, for Erin and Crystalline and Tiffany, when she started Plexus, had jobs, you know? So now you have to really be good at time management because you have your job and you got to do great at that. But now you're trying to add something else into it and you are adding something else into it. So taking the steps. So first, you know, like I told Erin, getting an Etsy site set up, getting some stuff made, you know, or just posting pictures of things that she's done before to put on there that she can make again easy. You know, a business license in Tennessee is $35. It's not a big deal. And it's so simple. It's an online form. But those are little things that are a part of your hustle that move you closer to a dream of one day just doing something totally on your own. Tiffany was a competition cheer coach and worked a lot and was doing both and was able to stop the other. Crystalline has recently recognized that although her identity has always been a nurse, and right now she's juggling her nursing and managing and all of that with Plexus, there will come a time when she'll shift and she'll be able to take less hours and then work. So it's what do you want to do? And just, it's probably not going to be easy. And too often people think, if it's hard, then maybe that's not what God wants me to do. That's not true. It's not true. God wants you to learn and grow and be challenged. I'm guessing. I can't speak for God. But I feel like God's made a lot of really successful people and they worked like crazy or went to school like crazy and then worked like crazy. Like, it's not if it's super easy, then that's your thing to do. So don't expect it to be easy. And don't be afraid of fear. How many of us struggle with fear? I know Erin struggles with fear of like, what if she sells stuff and people don't like it? Or what if she charges too much so people don't want to buy it because of the cost? There's all kinds of fear. We have fear of a different kind of fear of rejection. And that's, you know, we reach out to people and think we're really helping them and we could do something great for them. And then they either don't do what we asked them to do or don't do it the way we told them to do it or just totally ignore us.
Or get offended.
And we got to just recognize like it's just as a part of it. Everybody is not going to want what we have, whether we're selling really cool painted signs or we're selling a pink drink. Everybody is not going to want what we have, and everybody's not going to love it as much as we love it, and that's okay. Tiffany and Debbie have heard this a million times, but Jessica will watch this recording. I think Sarah Hearns will watch this recording, and Erin will hear it from me for the first time. I've given this example a million times, and that is, you're sitting at church and somebody comes up and offers you a piece of gum, but it's the cinnamon gum and you don't like the cinnamon gum, you only like the mint gum. And what do you say? No, thank you. Do you now all of a sudden not like that person? Are you offended that they offered you yucky cinnamon gum instead of mint gum? Nope. Like, their feelings are not hurt because you didn't want the gum. It just is. They were being friendly. They think you're a cool person. You're a friend of theirs. And they say, hey, you want a piece of gum? And you say, no, thank you. And that's it. You guys let it go, right? You're not going home thinking, oh, I hope I didn't hurt, Sally's feelings by not taking her gum. And you know what else? Sally's not going home going, what a jerk Erin is. She didn't take my piece of cinnamon gum. So if we're so okay with that, you've got to also be okay with everybody's not going to want to buy your crocheted something. Everybody's not going to want to buy our pink drink. It's not because they don't love us. It's not because they don't like us. They just don't need it right now. Right? So a lot of fear comes from that, like, what are people thinking? Who am I going to offend? What if they say no? And as soon as you can detach the emotion from their response, meaning whether they say yes or no has no effect on who you are or how they feel about you. It's just where they are in life right now. And so if you can get past that, each of us on there, Jessica will watch this, and she's in real estate. And I know she has some fears about, cold calling and going to get new clients and new business and different things like that. Like, she's the best networker in the world, but her coach wants her to do more of other things and knocking on doors and really finding new clients that want to sell their house. And that's scary. But as soon as she can go, what's it hurt? You are still the same person. Whether somebody buys your sign or signs you as their realtor or buys your pink drink, you are for sure the same person you were when you woke up this morning. Nothing's changed, right? You just keep at it. Keep at it. So taking daily action, what does that look like? That looks like just daily stuff. So for me, it looks like saying prayers, like as soon as my alarm goes off, saying prayers and saying my gratitude statements and saying some of my I am statements literally while I'm still laying in bed. Sometimes I fall back asleep and then my snooze button goes off and I say them again and then I get up. And then it looks like I have a list on my dry erase board. In an ideal day, I would do each of those 15 things on that list because every one of those things would help me in one or the other of my businesses. How many do I normally get done? Maybe 3 or 4. But I have that list in front of me in my office all the time. And that leaves no doubt as to what I can get done. I also have a to-do list of the different steps I need to take to truly do the things launched. And that's, I've checked some things off. So now I have new things. I have to get an EIN number. I have to write up some of my own workbooks. Like, there's different things that I need to do outside of my realm of social media and coaching and calls and things like that. It's just little tasks. So, Erin, you could look and go, okay, what do I do to start a business in Tennessee and set up a good Etsy shop? It could mean gathering pictures of what you've done before. It can mean all kinds, but doing something every day. You may be 3 weeks down the road thinking, oh, I still don't have anything done, but I promise you, if you've done at least 1 or 2 things on your list every day, you are much closer than you were 3 weeks prior to starting. Does anybody have anything to share right now, or thoughts on that, or how their daily action looks? Or
It's
Debbie?
amazing. It's amazing how fast it can happen too. Because if you're doing the little things every day, things start coming to you that you didn't realize could happen. So it's you can say, oh, it's going to take 6 months for this to happen, but the reality is it can only take 6 weeks
Correct.
because of things coming to you that enable you to do it
Right.
faster. Does that make? Yeah.
Yes. And you know, again, most of you know the story of when I was trying to earn Leaders Retreat and earn that trip after I had been so sick. And I was able to get, you know, 27 new people to order Plexus in 2 days, which is truly, truly remarkable. But it only happened because for 6 months prior, I had been posting. I had been slowly reaching out to people. I had been sharing things so that those 2 days when I needed to get all of that done, it was never anybody's first time of hearing about Plexus. Everybody had heard about it. Everybody had seen my post. I had reached out to everybody at least once. And when I called in a favor, like everybody stepped up. Nobody had to go, what is Plexus? When I was like, I need this, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so that's the thing. Like, as you slowly do stuff, you know, Erin, for you, like posting what you do on your personal Facebook page, not even as a, you know, as a for sale, literally like as a, you know, I made this for a friend, you know, so happy, something like that. That is like just a natural way of getting people engaged in what you're doing. That's a natural first step to, so then it's not a surprise to anybody. It's not a surprise to anybody who's like, people who are probably really close to you know that you do that and know that you're capable of it. But that's your inner circle. And then you have this little outer circle that is a lot more people that maybe you're not as close with, but they have a good impression of you and you're sweet, or you've met here or there, or they're friends of your husband's or whatever, and they don't know you do that at all. So as you post things, not even selling them, like you can have this sign for $30, like literally just like a, you know, a post about all the cute things that you made for Christmas and how much fun you had doing it. Somebody's going to look at that and go, oh, I didn't know she did that. I need a such and such for a gift. And it's kind of a slow launch, but it's not being afraid to put it out there and bragging a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So the other thing, be all in. So what does that look like? What does that look like for somebody like Crystalline or Erin who have full-time jobs but want to do something on the side, or slowly leave their full-time job to do something they're so excited about and so passionate about, or that's totally different? Their first step is to be mentally all in, like believing I can do this, and knowing how does this relate to future boards? When you look at your future board right now, by just doing what you're doing right now, how many of those things could you have if none of your circumstances changed at all right now? Erin, how many of the things that you're dreaming of, that you've been working on or thinking up, could you have in the next 6 months if none of your circumstances changed? For me, I mean,
If none of my circumstances changed,
if nothing changed in your circumstances, your work, your finances, anything like that, how many of the things on your future board could you have in the next 6 to 12 months?
probably not hardly any.
Okay, so staying focused on that future board and knowing you need to shift and change things up and change your trajectory, that you have to do that in order to have those things, that can help keep you on track. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Like it's not just about a change in a career. It's truly about like how great life would be if you were able to do these things and have these experiences. But in order to do that, you got to shift. If for no other reason than, you know, how much vacation time do you have? Like, is your work going to let you take off 3 weeks so that you can travel Europe? You know? But if you're an entrepreneur, you can. Is that your rooster?
I'm at my parents', and yes, it was theirs. Sorry.
And we got a rooster on the call. That's a first.
So sorry.
Don't be sorry. That's fantastic.
Don't be sorry. I loved it. I heard that. I was like, oh, that's cool. So
We don't have a
sorry.
That's fantastic. So
He's
so
talking to you.
now he's talking to us. He knows we're excited to hear him. So
Apparently.
yes, being mentally all in, that's what I'm talking about. Like knowing if that you have to shift and you have to make these changes to get these things. So you may not be able to be physically all in yet, because physically you have a 9-to-5 job. And so you're just adding an hour here, adding an hour there, at least getting a little bit something done each day, even if it's only 15 minutes. And then there will come a shift where you'll be able to go mentally and physically all into something else, if that makes sense. So that's how you go all in. Hold on. Oh, I thought I was going to sneeze. Okay, any questions about that? Being all in and what that looks like? No. Okay. Let's talk about tip 8. Know what you're working towards. So that's kind of what I was just talking about. Like, that's what your future board is all about. It's what you're working towards. It's the life that you want to live. It's the house that you want to live in. It's the land that you want to live on. It's the city that you want to live in. It's where you want to travel. It really is, what kind of life do you want to have? And then staying focused on that. When you're afraid, look at that future board. When you get rejected and you get your feelings hurt, because you will, look at that future board and go, you know what? Susie totally insulted something that I did or something that I posted about or something that I said in regards to how I'm earning money. And you know what? Recognizing that that's not going to matter at all when you're like walking through Paris hand in hand with your husband. Nobody's going to care that girl thought you were lame. First of all, she doesn't understand what you're doing or why you're doing it. Also, one of my favorite sayings, well, one of my all-time favorite sayings, and I've said this to you guys probably every call, is God would not have put a dream in your heart if he hadn't already given you everything you needed to fulfill it. But I also lost track. Oh, here's the thing. It's your dream. It's not her dream. It's not his dream. So don't let anybody, people will. No matter what you do, people will not understand why you're doing it. Here's the thing. God gave it to you. He didn't give it to them, so they don't have to understand it. And they don't have to be on board with it. It's yours. And that's super important. All right. I don't know if you guys read the chapter or not, but she kind of goes through her day of describing like what Sarah's hustle looks like. And I will agree with her. Like, it is not glamorous. It is not, it is hard. It is a lot of hours. For me, it's, getting up early and doing all this stuff for Andrew and taking him to school, but then getting my workout in, getting all the errands run, getting all the shopping done, and working while he's at school. So that window from 8 to 1:30. And then it's doing homework and swim and such with him. And then lots of times getting back to work after he goes to bed at 8 o'clock. I've started to think as I'm like launching to the things, and I have so much more that I feel like I need to do. I'm like, I need a nanny. And I can't believe I even say that out loud. But I'm like, if there was just somebody that would pick Andrew up and like do his things for a few hours, which totally defeats the purpose of being a stay-at-home mom. So I get the irony in that, but I'm like, we have so much to do, but lots of times that is getting up earlier and staying up later to do all of that stuff. It takes time. Speaking of my child, what are you looking for? My jacket. Your jacket. I don't know where you took it off. So everything takes time to grow. So too often in almost everything we do, no matter what, people in our society, they want a quick fix. And if we're being honest, we want a quick fix. Like, wouldn't it be great if all of a sudden, like, somebody called and said, hey, Erin, I saw one of your signs. I want to send one to all 400 of my clients. And I'm going to pay you $50 a sign, and we're going to promote this and we're going to do that. And I'm going to help you grow your business. Like, how cool would that be in your first couple weeks? It's not going to happen. I mean, it might happen. Who am I to say it's not? It would be awesome, but it might not happen that way. It might take a couple years, right, to grow it. I hope and pray every single day that God will send me somebody to my team that's ready to like start Plexus, dig in, start the business, go gangbusters, and take it straight to the top. Every one of us are like waiting for that day of when's the most amazing person going to join our team and just go gangbusters and take it to the top. But it doesn't work like that. Like, things take time. Weight loss takes time. Learning to eat healthy takes time. Growing a business takes time. Changing our mindset takes time. Like you said, Tiffany and Erin at the beginning of the call, just tiny, tiny shifts. Like, not even that you were negative, but a tiny shift in a word or what you say or catching things and rephrasing them. It just takes time. And then before you know it, it's so natural. But I say that because I've been doing, digging into this for 6 months. So I believe 100% in how this manifesting works. I mean, Tiffany's given us multiple examples of how her money manifesting is working. But as she also said, she was the first person I called when I started this process. And I was like, you got to do this. And then I was so overwhelmed by all the stuff I was learning. I stopped teaching anything and just dug in and changed myself. But before I got overwhelmed with everything I was changing and learning, I called Tiffany and said, this is what I want you to do. This is how I want you to do it. So she also has had, 4 or 5 months of doing what you guys have only been doing for 6 weeks. And now, I mean, hello, she just got all our money back from having a baby. What in the world is that? Like, that's bonkers. That's bonkers. And at Christmas, was that what a time to all of a sudden get what you get, like $18.
Christmas miracle. That's like what people dream of. I'm like, that's like out of a Hallmark movie. It was amazing.
Yes, it is. it's amazing. And it's such a huge, huge blessing. Um, and so if you haven't had anything manifest big yet, it's a couple things: timing, and you haven't decided yet what you really want to shift, what you really need work on, and how you're going to work on it and how you're going to shift it. Because once those things happen and you start speaking life to it every single day, because I feel like now that I feel so comfortable and confident in my relationship with money, which truly, I mean, even the girls on this call that were with me at convention in June, and I was talking about how awful I am with money and all these horrible things. Like, I am not that person anymore. And so now what I will shift to is, and I know that was a huge holdup in my business, because it didn't make sense for me to make $10,000 a month when I was so horrible with money. It wasn't, I didn't deserve it because I wasted it and I spent it on crap stuff. And I don't even know, I mean, I don't even know where all of my money went. No clue, nothing to show for it at all. And now I look at how I am and how I feel about the money that's come into our life and is coming into our life. And I feel so different about it. Before, whenever I knew we were getting extra money or surprise money, my mind immediately went to like what I could buy. What can I buy? What can I show off? What can I have? What do I not need, but I'm just going to buy it and have it. And that's not even like all the money we got for Christmas, all this extra stuff that's coming in. That's not even a thought. Like, literally what I thought today is, I need to buy one of those really good lighting domes for my videos to start making more videos in my office from my phone. You know, like, I need one of those for my business. Like, it hasn't gone to a new purse or new shoes or like none of the stuff that I used to just get my nails done, like none of that. So now I know that it's time for my brain to shift to my business and really growing it to the next level, because now I feel like now I'm ready to make that kind of money again. Now when it comes, it has a place to go, and I know it because it's on my future board. Like, it's going in the bank so that we can decide which of those things we're going to get first. Does that make sense? So figure out within yourself, what do I need to get straight first? What block do I need to get out of the way? What do I need to shift, change, get better at? And then you'll progress. Like, it's truly been in the last week where I'm like, okay, thanks God. Now I'm going to shift to this because now I'm ready. And you'll know it. You'll know it and you'll feel it. I think it was Tiffany who's had told me not too long ago, she knew she had to get her house in order. She felt like was it you, Tiffany, or Crystalline, that were getting your house in order? You?
Yeah, it's me. Yep.
And she knew, I mean, you're welcome to share, you don't have to, but she knew there were things in her house that she needed to get in order, right?
Yep. Just feeling like really impressed that there was so much clutter and mess and stuff going on that it was that the Lord could not bless me with other places, like with a Plexus business and things that were going to take time, when I had so much out of alignment in my home that needed to be taken care of first, so that when I was sitting down to work, I wasn't in the back of my head thinking, but I have 4 loads of laundry that need to be folded, and the floor hasn't been mopped in a week, and all of that needs to be gone and taken care of, so that when it's time to work, it's time to work, and there's nothing else going on.
Yep, that's perfect.
I have another thing I wanted to share that's totally off topic.
Tell me.
But we're walking into a doctor's appointment, so I want to share it really quick. Yeah, it's a park. So on my board is a red Ford Expedition Max, brand new with gray interior. leather interior, and I will see the color every so often, and I'll say to my husband, look, there's my car. There's a car that's the color of my car, and it's become my car. There's my car. There's the color. It's the same color as my husband's truck. He drives a F-150, and he went to get the oil change last week in his truck, and he's like, so I'm at the dealership, and he said, I went and looked, and they don't have one of your cars here. They don't have a red one. I was like, that's okay. He was like, do you know how much those cars cost? I was like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. He was like, it doesn't matter? I said, no, it doesn't matter. Because when it's the right time in the right car, oh, pick it up, hurry. It will happen. And he just laughed at me. But I was like, you were looking at least. Like, I went and looked. They didn't have your car on the lot. I'm like, you're buying in. You're good. You're coming around slowly but surely.
It's really remarkable. I love that so much because I have something similar. The other day I pointed out a black Range Rover, and I said, I'll get that one. That one will be okay. And he said, why are you saying that? You want a navy one? And I said, yeah, but I did some research and I didn't know that only black and white are standard in Range Rovers, and any other color is an $8,000 upgrade for the car. And he said, yeah, but you want navy. So don't let go of the navy. That's the one that you want. Don't settle for a black one because it's less expensive. Like, we'll find a navy one. And I was like, he's listening. He's bought in. Like, he may act like he's not bought in, but the fact that he could say, don't settle on a black one. Like, we'll get a navy one. That is so, like I said, put your future boards up, because when they're up and they see them, it starts conversation. And speak, like, speak life. Or if you see something similar to what you want, say it out loud. Like, go into a store and hold it. Like we just yesterday, he said, is that really what you want? And I said, it is. And he goes, okay. I said, but we should probably test drive one, because I've actually never driven one. And maybe I don't really want one because I've never driven it. And he said, okay, let's go. We'll go test drive them when we get home. And he said, because then we can just keep an eye out and we can be prepared for when it comes. So same as you, Tiffany. I know you're going into the doctor's office. But same type thing. Does anybody else have anything else? I know Tiffany's going into the doctor's office. Debbie, do you have anything before we close out?
Nope, I'm just needing to get it done. I just am done making excuses and not putting the time in.
Well, we got your one-on-one stuff going. That's going to be great. So let's just close out then. So important things. Here's important things as we close out future boards. Debbie, you had mentioned in our chat about the statements. Those all fall, in a couple places. Chapter 1 was the power of what ifs. So your homework was to write what if statements. Like, what if I this?
Yeah.
What if, remember? So you have that. And then chapter 2 were and chapter 3 were the block mindsets. So part of the homework were to write your I am statements, shifting how you think. But we'll also dig into that a lot in your one-on-one coaching. So you don't have to stress too much about that, but it's super important to say your I am statements or your power mottos every day. Because
power mottos, that's what you had said in the call. So power mottos are the same as the I am statements?
No, they're a little bit more powerful. Hold on one second. Let me grab my folder because I'll give you some examples of some. Will that help?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. And I'm going to leave the recording on just because I think, as ugly as this is, me rolling around in the bed trying to find my folder, that I want something that Sarah has really impressed on me as I coach people is that if they don't buy in, if you guys don't buy into the mental aspect, and you do that by saying your I am statements and your power mottos every single day so that it changes the way your mind works. If you don't truly start doing those and buy into that, all these other steps don't mean a thing.
They're not going to change. Yeah.
They're not going to stick. You're going to do them a little bit, but your mind doesn't believe it, and they're not going to stick. So, okay. I'm going to read you some power mottos that are for somebody else, but they're great, and they give you examples of ones that you want to come up. So they're more like statements, like powerful statements, okay? So here's one. I am open to meeting new people. I am open and receptive to meeting new people. I am friendly and likable and social. So that's one for like growing your network, growing your friends, doing things like that. Like it's a whole power motto. Here's another one. The universe always has my back. I am changing and financially rewards are on the way. There will always be abundance. See how that works together? Here's one. I am willing to put in the work to change my career and change my life. So for you, could be as simple as I'm willing to put in the work to change my life and change your career. Not change your career like get a new career, but take your career to the next level.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that I have another one.
Do you have those like where you could just take a picture and just send a picture to me?
Yeah, I can type them and put them up in the page.
Yeah, because one of those, a couple of them were like very, they just like resonated.
They were good for you?
Yes.
I feel like I had, yeah, I have some more. So I will put some examples because having my financial one, which I have put in the page before, is what's pinned. It's taped to my bathroom wall. And I say it multiple times a day. And I tell you what, it truly has changed.
Is that the one with the tree on it?
Yep.
Okay, I love that. I need to print that.
It is printed and taped in my bathroom, and I say it at least 3 times a day out loud, or at least read it.
Okay.
And it's changed everything. So, all right. I'm just, yeah. Let me say in closing how amazing this Future Boards Book Club has been with everybody. I know everybody's busy today, the day after Christmas, so I hope everybody gets a chance to watch this call. We're going to put some power mottos in the page, and the page is not going away. So I want that to be a place where everybody goes, asks questions, shares their win, posts great images that they find, shares their future board, so that we can keep growing together. So with that, I'm going to stop the recording and then probably still talk to Debbie for a few minutes. So you guys have a great, great, great 2020. Let's make it the best year ever. Thank you. Okay, hold on.